Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's session. My name is Mindy, and I'll be your moderator tech for this session. I'm here to support both you and our presenter. If you should have any questions or need any assistance with the Zoom interface, you can use the chat and direct message me, and I'll do my best to resolve any issues we may have. Today's session is Techquity, creating equitable, accessible, and engaging learning environments. And our presenter is Shirin Cassie.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mindy. Just to maybe we'll wait one more minute until everyone who registered will come in. So I will drop in the chat the link for this session. I got the link from Shed. I uploaded my presentation like few hours ago on the Shed website. You can have access to it, and Mindy will just put it in the chat. You can make a copy, you can save it, bookmark it, like this is yours to keep. And I will be going through my slides and I'll be demonstrating everything in the slides. You can just follow up with me, and at the end I will leave like 10-15 minutes for questions and answers. If you have any technical problems, you can just put it in the chat and Mindy will help support you with any technical problems. So our session title today is Techquity, creating equitable, accessible, and engaging learning environments. So in the past few years, one of the biggest challenges our schools face is providing equitable and accessible learning environments for all students. So in this session, we will explore many tools, apps, Google extensions, and features available for Google Chrome to create accessible equity solutions that will engage all our students. And most of these apps, actually all of these apps are free and you can work and use them as of today. And some they have paid version, which you have more features to access. And they all work within the Google ecosystem. So a little bit of background about me. My name is Shirin Cassie. I just finished my PhD in Educational Technology Leadership a few months ago. I have more than 10 years of experience working in the information and educational technology fields in the private and public sectors. I'm a Google certified educator for level 1 and level 2. And I also have Microsoft certifications, multiple. Currently, I work with Riverside County Office of Education as a project manager in the Center for Administrator Preparation Unit, where I prepare new and prospective school leaders and educational administrators for the increased challenges of 21st century educational leadership, including EdTech and online learning. What we will be covered today, I will be going over tools to help support your students. Some are Google tools like from Google, and others are just tools that they play nicely in the Google system. So all the tools that we're looking at here are things that you can use within Docs, Chrome, Google Classroom, and many of them, they work on Mac, PCs, and Chromebooks. And most importantly, as I said, they're all free, so you can use them. Some of these tools might have a paid version, but all of them are like free for the basic versions, and some of them are just you get full access for the free version. So what we're going to be covered today, tools that help text to speech, speech to text, readability, reading comprehension, audio support, behavior, and focus. So I'm going to be segmenting my presentation into these 6 categories. So the first category is the text-to-speech. What we're looking here at something that would read a text out loud to your students. And there is a lot of amazing tools. So I will be sharing just 2 to 3 tools for each category, but there are tons of tools. So for this one, this is by far my favorite tool. It's a Google extension. It's called Read and Write. This is an extension that does text-to-speech, or it reads things aloud. The free version does that, and there is a paid version that is free for any educator. So all what you have to do is just click on that link. Everything here is clickable and live. So if you want to download the tool, the extension, just click on the extension tool. Oh, let me put this, move it. So click on this extension tool, and because I already downloaded it and added it to my extension toolbox, it will show here on your screen, add to Chrome. And once you add it, because it's an extension, it will pop here. So what you do, you're gonna click on this puzzle link, and it will have all the list of extensions that we're gonna be adding today. And if you cannot see it here, that means it's not pinned. So let's say dyslexia friendly, it's not pinned. If I pin it, it will show up here. So this is all my extensions that I will be demonstrating today. Each slide has this link that you're gonna be able to download the extension to your Google Chrome. Again, all these tools, when I say extension, that means you need the browser, which is Google Chrome. So if you're using Mac, you cannot have these extension on your Safari web browser. You will be able though to download Google Chrome browser and use it within your Mac. And for this tool, let me demonstrate how easy to use and how wonderful is this tool. So for example, if I have this article, so if I click, because I already downloaded it and I have it here on my toolbox, when you click on this puzzle that looks as R and W, a floating toolbox will just come here. So what you do, this is the paid version. So as I said, educators get all full version for free. There is a form, let me just point out this form. There is a form that I linked it here that will allow you to, let me see, maybe because I downloaded it, but if you click on get free account, there is a form that you will here, get your free account. You just indicate that you are a teacher and you're interested in getting the full version for read and write. And they will ask you for your school district and your the website, if your school has a website. I filled the form, that's why you can see that, and I didn't pay anything. I got all these access tools. So what you do is, there's an article, if you highlight the text and click on the play.
The unique geography of the Arctic leads to unique weather patterns that reappear in the region year after year. Some weather patterns.
So it will read it out loud for your students. And what's cool about that, it also reads captions on images. And this is the, it's called screenshot. So if I take a screenshot and screenshot my image and then play it, it will read the text on my image.
Sea level pressure composite mean national sea and ice October 130 2010 TID BOOs.
Can you hear?
AFG, WRN 7ZAI, ASB at B,
Oh.
COI XEEUI2 of a map of sea level pressure for October 1st to 30. 2010
stop it.
shows a height.
Okay, so exit this. What's cool also about that, if you go to the three dots here, you get settings and you can change the speed of the reading. You can make it faster and you have so many voice. So you can change it to any voice you want. There are about 40. And if you want to change the language, you can do that too, and it will read it for you. There is an organization tool that I love. Those are the the highlighters. So let's say I want to highlight any like related topics with color code. So let's say all the yellow ones, those are the one category. I want to put them all together and here. So I want to organize my note taking. So all these points, I want to put them all in like category form. So what I do is I click on those three on this wheel, and then I ask the program to just put them in category for me. So anything that I highlighted it with blue, it will go as on my notes in the blue section, yellow section, green section. So based on the way I want those to be organized. And we can like spend all day just talking about these tools. What I like, oh, so what you can do is you can bring the eraser and just erase everything. What I like here is the dictionary option. That means you can click on a word and it will define it for you. Here. So it will give you the definition of this word, and it will also give a picture for this word. So let's say I want to have weather, and it will give you both definition and a picture dictionary, which is really cool. And what's good about this tool too, that it works with Google Docs and not so many tools that works with in Google Docs. So if you highlight this one and you click play,
Weather patterns that recur or persist over multiple seasons are called
words
SAM.
in Google Docs as well. So our next tool, it's the immersive reader on websites. So this is from actually Microsoft, but it does work as a Google extension, as a Chrome extension, because we all love the immersive reader in Microsoft products. But since all schools now, or most all schools, have Chromebooks where the immersive reader is not embedded into the platform of the Google Chromebooks. So now you can add it as an extension to your Google Chrome. And again, if you click on this link, it will take you to the Chrome Web Store where you can add this as an extension to your Google Chromebook. So let's look at an example. How does the immersive reader works on this document? So let's say I want this to be read out loud to me. So what I do is I select and then I right click it. And it says, help me read this. And on here, I put a screenshot how each tool works and where can you find it. So this one is the immersive reader. You double click. Let me go back to my article. You select the text and you right click and then you click help me read this. And what it does, it opens a new website for you where you can change the text size and you can increase spacing between letters. You can change the font and you can change the theme, and you can also ask the program to point all the nouns, which is going to be color coded, or all the verbs, all the adjectives, all the adverbs, and then you can ask the program to show you the labels. So it will show that geography is a noun, unique is an adjective, and you can also do the syllables. So it shows the syllable of the word. And also you can do the line focus. So when it reads, here, I'm gonna
The unique geography of the Arctic leads to unique weather patterns that reappear in the region year after year.
So for those kids who like to focus one line at a time and they just get distracted with so many texts, they can choose to line focus or just like 3 lines focus or just like a bigger focus. And every time you click a word, you can also translate. So let's say I want to translate to any language, doesn't matter. If you click on it, it will give you a picture and the word in this language. And here you can only have 2 voices, which is 1 female and 1 male. And you can also voice speed it.
Year. Some weather patterns, such as cyclones or anticyclones, are common outside the Arctic.
So this is a great tool for kids who like minimal distractions on text. So if you want a tool that has more than 2 voices, some kids, they just get bored of the voices. There is one called Read Aloud, and it is a text-to-speech too. And this one has so many, like above more than 40 different voices. So it's like the megaphone. Let me see this one.
The unique geography of the Arctic leads to unique weather patterns that.
So if you click on the settings, it has a list of way more than 40, a lot of voices they can choose from as well. They can do the speed and they can choose a higher pitch if they want to. So these tools are all the text to speech that reads aloud for your students. So if we want to go the other direction, speech to text, we want to be able to speak and have our words typed up for us. And these tools can be very helpful if we have students who are struggling with typing, not necessarily an injury, but they just have very nice ideas in their brains, but they just don't want to put it through their fingers and type because it takes too long, or it's just their hands get tired. So this is a great tool for those kids who just like to speak. So sometimes you see those kids, they make the big words smaller because they're typing it, or they want their sentences to be shorter, not too long, so they don't type. And we don't want that to happen. We want our students to go and express themselves and get all their ideas in text. So some of these tools are built in within Google Docs and Google Slides. So those are not extensions. They do exist in Google Docs and Slides. And here I put a screenshot where you can find both of them in Google Docs and Slides. So in Google Docs, if you go to Tools and then Voice Typing, and then click on the microphone. So from now on, anything that I will be saying, it will be typed on my document. So here it goes. It will type. Maybe it just needs sometimes some cleaning up, but usually it's typed really like nicely. And the other tool is on, it's a built-in tool within Google Slides. But the only difference is that it places it in your speaker notes. So let's go to Tools and Voice Type Speaker Notes. So now anything that you will be saying, it will go at the speaker notes. But what you can do, you can copy paste the content and add it to your slides if your students are building their slideshow within Google Slides. So here, it typed everything here. I'll go ahead, take it and type it. The next tool, so these two tools, as I said, they only work in Google Docs and Google Slides. But what if you want your students to like send an email? What if you want your students to answer a discussion board on Google Classroom? What if they want to Google form? So there is a tool that called Voice Typing. This is an extension that you can add it to your Chromebook, and it looks like this. It's like a mini microphone, and any website that has a text box you can add words to it. You can use the speech to text, the voice in, voice out, and this tool works with Macs and PCs and Chromebooks as well. So let's say I have a Google form and you ask your students a question and you do want them to answer here below using the voice in, voice typing. So here is the form and you allow your students to voice it. So I can either like right click and start dictation. Because I have the tool added, it will show up anywhere there is a text, even the search, social media, anything that has a text. And instead of typing, every time you right click, it will pop the start dictation tool. And you can either access it from here or click it on your toolbox. So since I clicked it now, it's activated. Anything I will be saying now, it will be typed out for me and will be added to my answer. So there you go. I don't have to type anything. It's all typed for me. And then I can, or the student can just submit the response and they didn't type. But of course you can like tell your students that they will be required to clean it up. Just read through what they typed and it will have some need some attention. So here you have all these slides are for you to keep. They have all the links. There's a video tutorial, how to download it, how to make it work, what's the best features about this. So the next one that it's worth talking about when we talk about speech to text is the live captioning. So sometimes we think speech to text, like when I just needed to write a paper and I just wanted to type everything that I say. But the other type of type to text is when somebody is speaking and you want people to be able to see what they are saying as well as hearing what they are saying. And thankfully for this Google, has live captioning as part of Google Slides, Google Meets, and they're building their live captioning into other tools as well. And there has been a lot of research done on the benefits of students being able to read and hear at the same time. It makes that connection between the spoken words and the written words. So it improves their comprehension and it improves their language acquisition as well. So even if students are not having hard time hearing, which can easily be that case, but even if they don't have hearing, sometimes just the noises and the busy room and they just get distracted with movements. So having those live caption on can help a lot. And I actually am a big fan of closed captioning. I use it everywhere. I do have it if it's like I'm watching the movie or going into conferences. I always turn it on because I found out when I have it on, I don't lose content. I get a lot more stuff, and I don't get like, sometimes when people just talk fast, sometimes when I get distracted, like I don't hear the content. And this is the case for so many of us. And this live captioning, it's actually built in slides, so you don't have to do any downloads. So I'll demonstrate it right here, like right on these slides. If one of your students asks you to turn on live captioning, you can do that. If you hover over your slides, there are these 3 dots, and then it opens a menu that says caption, preferences, and then toggle captions. So from now on, anything that I say, it will enable live captioning. So my students now, if they can't hear me because of so much noise or they have hearing problems, they can just read the caption. And what you can do, you can also choose where do you want your caption to appear. It can be at the bottom or at the top. You just go to the same tool. And then you can choose the text size, extra large, large, small, or medium. And once you're done, you can just go back and toggle it off. So you can turn it off and on whenever you want. Even if your students are viewing your presentation from their laptop, they can turn it on themselves and it will capture your voice and it will just have live captioning on their specific device. So now our next category is about readability. So what we are talking about now is any tool that makes it easier for students to read the content that they are trying to work through it. And the first thing in readability is the font size, the font choice. We really should think about the fonts that we use. Sometimes it's really fun to have all those cool, pretty, wacky letters. And absolutely, this is like, makes it like adds a nice view to your slides or your docs, but you really need to think about those students who might have a hard time reading your content. You can add those styles to your banner, to a title, but not to the whole content. So we do want to think about the fonts that we use. For example, Google Docs and Slides, they now have more than 1,430 fonts. And for example, if you go here and you click on more fonts, you can search up to 1,400 plus different fonts. And the one that I love, and I've been using it since I got introduced to it, it's called Lexend font. So my presentation here, it's in this font. And this font, it was initially designed for students who are struggling with reading, with dyslexia. But then Bonnie, who found and created this Lexend font, she found that these fonts are also great for everyone else. So since I've been introduced to this, I've been using it on all my presentations and documents. And this will make a big difference for our students that are struggling to read your content. And you found it by just going into your fonts and click on more fonts, and you can just search it, and it will give you different kinds of Lexend, and they have different thicknesses. So for example, Lexend, it has from thin all the way to black, extra bold. It has different kinds of thicknesses, but this is a great font that you should consider using whenever you are presenting or giving documents to your students to read. Other things to consider would be some extensions. So these fonts are already built in Google Docs and Google Slides. There are Google extensions that has some readability tools. And this one, it's called Mercury Reader. And Mercury Reader, it's an extension that cleans up the web pages by moving all the distracting elements from it. So for example, let's go to this. This is a website that has news, and a great website for kids, but still it has so many distracting popular articles, so many ads in there, and it also has a chat box at the bottom. So this Mercury Reader, what it does, it takes this document and cleans it up for your students. And it's extension, you click here to download it. Mine is already downloaded it. So here's my article. So what you do is, it's a rocket ship. So you click on the rocket ship, and now it took your document and it cleans it, and it only has the related images and text and videos that is related to the original article. It took all the chat box, it took all the popular articles, the ads, and it just like a clean version. And even if there are links here, live links, they will still work. And you can also tweet it or email this document. It will, all those are still active, and you can send it to your Kindle. There are like few options here. If you click on the tool, the settings, you can make a contrast for your readers. You can change the font from serif to sans. It has only 2 fonts. And you can make the size text medium or large. So this Mercury tool helps your struggling readers from being distracted. And let's say you want to print this document. You want to print it. There's no print option here, but what you can do, a workaround, you can right-click this and pretend that you want to print it to your printer, but then here it will ask you for your destination. So instead of choosing your printer, just say save as PDF, and then you can save it to your computer, and then you can share this clean version of this article by email, by adding it to your Google Classroom or whatever platform you're using to share PDF documents with your students. So there's a way to have this as a PDF. So another tool that is good for, that is related to readability, it's called Open Dyslexic. Open Dyslexic, it's an open source font, and it's created to increase readability for readers with dyslexia. So this extension, what it does, it's an extension. You can add it to your tool extensions, And what it does, it makes the letters heavy weighted bottoms to add kind of gravity to each letter. So you are able to quickly figure out which part of the letter is down because of this feature. So it helps recognize the correct letter, and sometimes it helps to keep your brain from rotating them around. And how it works, for example, here's my document, and you will install this. It's called Open Dyslexic. Here I have it on my toolbox. So if I click on it, and it will ask me for, do you want it as a bold, italic, or just Open Dyslexic? And I just add the on. So it will replace the current font in any article with the dyslexic open dyslexic font throughout my document. And you can always turn it off. If you go there and click off, it will go back to its regular font, the one that was in the article. So this is a great tool for your dyslexic students. Now, our third or maybe fourth category is about tools that help students understand the content. So after we used readability and all the other tools, now we do want to help them comprehend and understand the content that they're working on. And maybe many of you already used Google Dictionary. Google Dictionary, it's a standalone website, and it also can be added as an extension to your Google Chrome browser. So this could be just a nice additional help for students as they're reading along. They simply hit a word and it will give them the definition. For example, back to my document. So what they do, if they write, double click, where's my original document? Here. So here is my dictionary extension. So I can just add a word and ask the dictionary to define it for me. Or I can just, if I'm reading a document and I got stuck in this word, I can just double click it. Why it's not double clicking? Let me see. So double click any word to view its definition in a small pop-up bubble. So sometimes when I have something turned on, it interferes with the other. So let's say, so usually when I don't know why it's not working, but climate, here, now it's activated. So when they have their extension working up there, they can double click on the word. It will define it for them, and it will pronounce it for them. And if they hit more, it will just take them to the Google Dictionary website where they have them translated to a lot more languages, and it will have more definition for this word. So they can use it as here and define, or double click on a word within any document in any website. So this Quillbot for Chrome, this is a tool that you can use it as a website. And if you click the link, you have the website here, or if you can just add it to your extension toolbox. And this, what it does, it just takes the article, and through the artificial intelligence that is in the tool, it will shorten and summarize the article. So I'm not saying for your students to just summarize any article, but this is nice to like have the article and then do the summarize, read the summary, and then like have an idea what the article, and then read the article. Or what they can do, they can just read the article and then they can summarize it just to comprehend and have like the main idea. So this tool has three tools inside, embedded within. It checks for errors, so it has a grammar checker, and it paraphrases, so it helps articulates ideas quickly, and it summarizes, so it takes any long emails, any articles, papers, PDFs. You can copy all the content and then summarize it in using this tool. And this is like a great tool for our English learners, where they can manually summarize and then check their summary against the artificial intelligence summary. But there is like, I'm going to demonstrate the summarizer for you, but heads up on the paraphraser. So what students use, students actually love this tool, because what they do, they get the articles and they paraphrase it so they can get away of those plagiarism services that can catch their plagiarism. So just heads up that this tool paraphrases, and their paraphrase is not caught by the plagiarism services. And like, you know, any tool, it has a bad and good stuff. So for example, how this works, let's say I want to summarize the content of this article. So I will go to my Quillbot slide bar, and here I paste my content, and at the top it has the three functions within the Quillbot. It's a paraphrase, grammar checker, or summarizer. So if I want to summarize it, I post my stuff, I paste my stuff, and then I can also choose a keyword that will be highlighted for me, and then I summarize. So it will summarize it. I can choose if I want it to be more sentences, re-summarize, or longer summary by just toggling this summary length. So I want more sentences. I want it to be summarized with more sentences. So here's my summary. Sometimes you can like use it before reading the original article or just after, just to emphasize the main points. So our next category is about audio support. So this is a tool that allows you to record your voice, or your students record their voice, and they can add it to anything within Google, or even anything that has a text box. So let's say Google Docs, Google Forms, even Google Classroom. They can record their voice in their assignments. Other than typing it, you can provide feedback to your students, audio feedback within Google Classroom and Google Docs. And you can also build that human connection, not just typing your feedback. You can always provide those audio support, and this will provide a personalized message to your students. And also your students, they can leave a voice message on their assignments and their Google Docs as well. So for example, in, let's say, Google Classroom, if you want to go to your stream, so here's the tool. It looks like that. It's called Mote. I maybe forgot to mention the name of the tool. It's called Mote. And once you add it to your Chromebook, it will appear on your toolbox. And since I added this extension, now everywhere I go, I will see the modes extension added to my tools. For example, I don't have to add it in my Google Classroom. It will be added automatically because I already added it at the first place. So for example, on the stream, instead of me typing something for my students, I can just say it for them, and I can send them a voice message. So if I click on that and click on the check, oh no, I don't want to post it. So now anything that I will be saying, it will be recorded as my voice. And I can now share a voice message on the stream in Google Classroom. So now it's done. So now anything that I will be saying, it will be recorded as my voice. So if I'm happy with it, I can download it, or I can just post. If I post it here, my students will get it as a voice message. They don't have to have the tool installed in their devices to be able to play it. It will just play. They will have that play button and they can play your message. And what's cool about this message too, so if I click post, it will go. That's why I'm gonna exit and not post this. And what's cool too, that if you go to the assignments session and you, before grading, if you have any feedback that you would like to provide to your student, you can do that as well. So what you can do is click here on the mode. And now I'm recording. I can record up to 3 minutes. This is, I think, the paid version. The free version, I believe it's only 30 seconds, which I believe is good enough. So you can now provide a voice. And if you're happy with it, you can like just remote. And now I'm recording. I can record up to 3. So now you recorded it. If you're good, you hear it, you can just post it to your students. And this is actually will save a lot of time for you as a teacher, just to provide voice messages instead of typing your feedback. So you can just say what you want to say. It also builds that human connection. It's more efficient, and your students will love hearing your voice instead of just reading text. And this also works in the documents. So I can add it as a link here. Let's say I want to highlight this and add a voice here that has maybe my instructions. So what I do, I highlight in my Google Docs. If I click this, and again, because I downloaded the extension, it will appear on all Google Docs, even Google Forms. So if I add here, I can just click, and anything that I will say here, all my instructions, or everything that I want my students to hear, it will go here as a link. So if I insert it now, when my students click this link, they can hear my voice of what I just want to communicate with them. So instead of having here everything typed in, kids, you know, they don't read instructions, but with this one, they will listen to your instructions. And you can also add, if you're working even with your colleagues, so sometimes we just want to add a comment here, right? So instead of adding a comment and typing it, I can also say my comment and send a voice comment. So this is a really great tool. You can send comments on Google Docs, even your emails, your Google Drive, anything that works within Google Drive, Google Classroom. like it's an amazing feature to know that you can communicate with your voice when you don't have your students physically in your classroom. So our last category is the behavior and focus. We all get distracted so easily while we're working online, and there are tools that can help us and help our students eliminate all those distracting websites, stay focused, and boost our productivity. And one of those tools, it's an extension as well. It's called Simple Blocker. And what this tool does, it does block the websites that you choose that you want them to be blocked for a certain time. So let's say I'm working on this presentation and I don't want myself to go on any websites like Facebook, news. I don't want to go to Twitter. So what I do, I just go to, let me see how this extension looks. The Simple Blocker. And so this tool, we're going to get into it, remove it. So on these website blocked list, I added Twitter, CNN, like for example, news.google.com. It can be like everything Facebook, or it can be a sub website within a website. And then you choose, like, for example, I want to be free from accessing these. I want to be blocked from accessing these websites for 15 minutes. So, and I save my block list. So let's say now I want to go on Twitter. And here I want to open my Twitter. It will give me that notification that this been blocked by the Simple Blocker. And when the 15 minutes elapse, so you can do them again. So this, I'm only blocking myself for like 15 minutes. You can block yourself as many hours as you want, and you can just come here, add a website, and set a timer. So this is, and you can put unlimited websites, subdomains, any pages like you have. There's no limit of the websites that you or your students want to like free themselves from distracting. There's also this website, this extension, it's called uBlock Origin. And this is not the ublock.org, it's a different thing. It does what it actually does, it only blocks the ads, and it does remove them from the website, which is really cool because, as you know, with all the AI, every time you search something, it will just keep popping on any website that you're using. So this uBlock Origin, it will have blocks all those distracting ads that are not relevant to what you're going to be doing on the website. And this is the app that keeps popping up. This is a really cool add-on, or it's called extension. So this is for anyone who needs a break from staring at the screen for so long. This is not just for your students, it's for anyone. This reminds you that now it's a time to go offline and move. So what it does, do I have it? Let me see, maybe I removed it. So if you add this extension here, move in. When I click on it, I want to tell the extension that every 15 minutes, remind me to stop. That's why you've been seeing my screen, like my app popping. So it will tell you, it will give you random activities. So it will, for example, this one, climb a ladder, go upstairs, take a walk, do 10 jumping jacks. And you can set the timer. You can say like, I want every 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, I want to be reminded to shut down and take a break. And this will give you and your student a physical activity to do. And if you know, or your student know that, oh, I'm gonna go get a break every 15 minutes, then I focus on those 15 minutes because I know after that, I'm gonna get my like wiggly break. This tool is absolutely a go-to. I love it. Your kids will love it. And it just gives you random physical movements that you do. And I think this concludes my tools. I know that's a lot, and I know I shared them all like without stopping, but if you like go into my slides, everything is linked there. I put screenshots, I added video tutorials, and you can always email me. Here's my email address. You have my slides. You have the information there. If you have any questions, or if you have any other tools or suggestions that you think will help our struggling students, or not just our struggling students, many of these tools helps us as an adult. And I do use a lot of them in my everyday work, and some of them my kids even use them, especially the one that you don't have to type, like who will not use that. So this concludes my, yes.
We had a couple questions. One of the speech to text extensions, someone asked if it will, I think you were showing it in Google Docs, and they asked if it also works in Google Sheets.
So most of the, I don't think so. I've never tried it for Google Sheets, but it's worth trying it. But most of the stuff that works in Google Docs and Google Slides should, but I'm not sure though. So what is the tool that you're inquiring about? For example, I have my sheets here, and like the one that
it was one of the speech to text.
The built-in tools, it's not in there. The ones that I demonstrated about built-in tools, they only...
Kayla, that was like one of Kayla's questions. Do you call which
So
one?
if you have a question, you can unmute yourself, but the voice typing, they only have them in Google Docs and Slides. They're not in Sheets.
Okay.
They're only built in under the tools menu. Usually when they're built in, they are only built in within these tools, but if they're extension, they can work more globally, and they can like work with more apps and websites and PDFs, like they have more features in them.
And then Heidi had a question about Helper Bird. Have you used Helper Bird?
What is it?
It's called Helper Bird. She was asking about a comparison, but I'm not sure if you have.
A better comparison between, is Heidi in the room?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah,
Okay.
one of our tech people mentioned or gave me, before Immersive Reader was on Google, she told me about this extension, or this, I guess it's an extension called Helper Bird. And I was just wondering how it compared to Immersive Reader, and also the other one that you talked about, which is escaping me at the moment.
So I'm not familiar with that tool, but Heidi, there are like tons of tools for each of these categories. I just picked few of them, but if you search speech to text tools, you'll get like at least 20 different tools, and each one of them has different stuff that it offers. So what I say, like, just play with them or watch a tutorial on each of them, and then you'll choose the one that meets the needs of your students. So if an immersive reader is something that kids find annoying over the time because it only has 2 voices, one female, one male, another option like read aloud is for them, although it doesn't have the noun, adjective, and syllables function, but it has tons of voices. So it really depends. Each tool gives you different features. It really depends what your students need. And it's good to play with all of them and see what best suits what your students want. If nouns and adjectives is not a big deal, you only want something that reads, then you want to find something with more voices. But if like dyslexia, for example, is something that your readers need, then you need to look at Lexend or Open Dyslexic, for example, tools. So it really depends who's your audience is and who's using these tools.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, everyone, for participating in today's session. We hope you enjoyed your time here at Google Camp. If you guys have any feedback, please feel free to provide that through Sked. Thank you, guys.